Hello, hello, hello. All right. I am but hanging out. I am a mote in God's eye. I am a speck on the sun, and I'm just here to draw all night. That's all I'm here to do. That's all I'm gonna do. I've got some assets that I'm gonna work on for when it's time to actually kick things off. This is a kind of rough color study of what I would like my actual starting screen to look like down the line. It's still very much a rough work in progress. In fact, I might just scooch all this stuff out of the way a little bit more so you can see it, because it's kind of the whole point, isn't it? So, hello, my name is Ava, and I'm going to be streaming from now on. It's an interesting one when you're just talking into empty space. Uh, Hopefully, I'm not completely by myself forever, but if you are hanging out, come say hi. I don't bite. Well, well, not the kind you wouldn't like. So I've got three rough kind of concepts here that basically just iPad sketches. You know how it goes. You start small and then work your way up. So I've got this potential starting screen, and then, well, less. And then we've got an end screen. And this one I'm probably the most tentative about would be this be right back screen. Just because there's a little something there. There's something, but I don't know if it's actually gonna make it past like ideation stage. Because there's definitely like I like the idea, but whether or not the dignity of it is exactly what I'm looking for, it's probably not clear at all from this thumbnail, because that's exactly what it is, just a very rough thumbnail. But much like a lot of BRB screens, I wanted there to be a kind of element of accidental chaos to it. Like, oops, something's gone wrong. In fact, you know what? Speaking of something having gone wrong, I might chuck some music on so I'm not just sitting in the void. Maybe that's why I'm nervous, you know? Oh my gosh, hello, Ez. How are you? I'm sitting in the void. I am nervous in a way. I was literally just about to start talking about radio and how you can get so used to doing one kind of sitting alone in a room and talking indefinitely, and then be still so thoroughly unprepared for a slightly different kind of sitting alone in a room talking to yourself. I think it's all it took was just knowing that there was like one person who may or may not be paying attention, and then I don't feel like I'm completely crazy. Ugh, maybe I've broken the back of it. Also, thank you. I hope you're having a very chill night, and I hope that nobody yelled at you on the street for your earrings again. I thought they were wonderful earrings, by the way. Um, so I am just working on assets that I might use for my eventual actual stream. But right now, it's all just a dream. As you can see from my very, very professional thumbnail work, uh, I am open for commissions if you are so inclined. Also, you don't need to hang out if you are busy, if you're doing stuff. I'm just screwing around, being a little guy right now. But yes, I'm working on some assets. You know what? I think the reason why I'm a little nervous about this specific iteration of a BRB screen is because it is very ass forward. So maybe that can just be like a cropping issue, because I think with it being quite so far away, it also kind of detracts from like the actual point of it, which is like it's meant to be that there is something going on here that is causing the corset to spring apart. And then that's like the reason for the BRB-ing. Oh no, that's no good. Am I quiet or am I completely muted? Let's see. How can I drag that one up? Is that any better? Could also just be this microphone is causing me a lot of grief, honestly. Which isn't an excellent way to go, but you got to iron out the scuff now, right? Oh no, I've gone and drawn on the wrong layer. That's all right. I am going to have a little double check, see if there's anything completely wrong with my mic. And while I do that, I'm going to actually get around to putting that music on. Alrighty. There we go. So then at least we have some BGM. I wonder if it is just this microphone being chronically quiet. Yay! Can you hear me well though? Huzzah! Thanks for watching me like test out all my scuff, guys. This is very heartwarming. So I'm just going to be drawing. Feel free to just put me in the corner. Why am I... my first response is to be like, don't look at me. It's funny becoming shy about things again. So as I was saying before, back when I was in the void, I am going to work on some assets. Sounds like I am entirely coming from your left. Good. Somebody needs to be shifting the Overton window around here. Hang on. Let's see if I can do some tweaking. Well, not that kind. Ah, interesting. All right. Well, hang on. I'm going to mute for a second and jiggle some chords so that I don't do accidental ear abuse. Cables have been appropriately jiggled, but I see what you mean now. It looks like this microphone is only picking up on the mono. This is why we do this, right? Grandma's not very good on the computer, sweetheart. Hang on, bold choice here from me right now, but let's try this. Now. Nope, that's exactly the same. Oh, good. How wonderful is that? I love it. I love it. Why, of course I want it to be mono. Why would I want it to be stereo? Why wouldn't I just want to be blaring into people's ears from the left? Lloyd, you absolutely picked it. Yeah, I'm just wondering how to fix that. Oh, good for me. Well, I might, if it's not completely intolerable, I might have to put it aside for now because it might take more investigating than I can feasibly do right now. But that's all right. Exactly. I can be the lamp to which so many moths fly into and 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 fly into. Now it's just quite quiet. Well, we can fix that. How's that? Well, no, that's still quiet. Oh, really good. You know what? I'm getting a different microphone at first opportunity. This this thing was living in our garage for about 18 months. So who knows what happened to the poor thing. But, oh, isn't that good? I'm very glad that you are letting me know. This is much better. Okay, much better. All right. So the main goal is to actually get some drawing done, which I have proven to be very not good at times. I'm good at like starting drawings, but very, 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 very bad at finishing them. Oh well, we can make it work. I'm just gonna go through and clear all these layers so that clear canvas, clear mind, or whatever Plato said. That was Plato, right? Plato. Good file management is next to godliness. That sounds right. I'm wondering if I should do the big full like room layout, nail all the perspective, and then try and do all the fun little bits that I actually want to do, or whether I should just like let my heart decide and draw a bunch of facial features floating in void. No, that's made me decide for me. That's just what I want to do. It's not what I should do. All right. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that there's no such thing as mistakes, only happy accidents is a dog-faced lie, goddammit. There's something uh, really to be said about things being good because they're correct. A lot on his Plato. Oh my gosh. So now how do you read chat and also hello, thank you for dropping by. How do you read chat and then focus on what you're actually doing? I'm realizing this is a huge pitfall for my hollow little bird brain. Oh, speaking of bird brains, so whether or not this was a prudent idea is yet to be shown, but I have nibblings. Let's put it that way. I have children in my life who I am friends with, related to. You get it. But I was talking to one of my nibblings while I was drawing on my iPad, and the nibbling was like, "Oh, what are you drawing? What are you drawing?" So I'm like, "Oh well, panic intensifying," and I was like, "I'm it's a character. I'm making up a character. You know, what am I gonna do? Confess that I'm a weeb to a 9-year-old? I don't think so." But they got quite excited because they're 9 and making up characters is kind of their bread and butter at this stage of their life. And so we started talking about it. I'm like, well, she works at a circus. She's a trapeze artist. And I'm like, well, I'm actually trying to think of like what a mascot could be for her. And then my niece, without missing a beat, just goes, a lyrebird. And it's perfect. So to give you like a little bit of background on this kind of character that I'm trying to come up with, her name is Ava. And she is a trapeze artist because of all of the leaps of logic that I end up doing and my death-defying tricks of talking myself into and also out of things. And I really like the idea that I'm on the run, that this isn't necessarily my first life, and that I may or may not have the fuzz after me. I really love that this little kid, without even, knowing, well, without even really just being a fully formed human, was so able to be like, oh, a lyrebird. Kind of jealous almost. All right. I feel like I'm trying to pat my head and rub my tummy at the same time, and I am achieving neither. This is very Puss in Boots too. I feel that. Are you trying to say swear? Oh, right. No, never mind. No, yeah, Puss in Boots too. Yeah, I want to be a con man. It's all I've ever wanted to be. I just want to be a suitcase toting, lie spinning grifter. But unfortunately, I have morals in real life that prevent me from doing that. So I need to become a fictional grifter. Was Puss in Boots specifically a trapeze artist, or was he just like a cat? I feel like cats kind of are trapeze artists by default. Oh no, this is from real snakes. Lloyd, I got the real snake oil. I don't got that fake snake oil. I got that real snake oil. This is 150% genuine python. But yeah, have you guys seen a lyrebird? I think that they are such adorable, beautiful, funny little birds. They have such big, stupid feathers as well. Like, who. Let me grab a photo. What is the functional purpose of all of these? Someone pray tell. Oh, yeah. This is very cat like. This is a very cat like bird. It barely looks like a bird, honestly. Also, it looks like somebody has photoshopped its wings on upside down as like a practical joke. Like God was just feeling funny. He was just having a little laugh when he made these. Hang on, actually, let's see. Yep. Lyrebirds are God's joke. Tell me that doesn't look more normal. Going around mimicking car alarms to God. They're just silly little birds. I love them. Also, I love these back tail feathers. Well, so yeah, I ended up kind of forcing, well, not forcing at all, actually, it came really naturally. I ended up slipping a little lyrebird into the design here, which once I actually get my head on straight, will become part of the whole thing. See, this is what I mean. I can always start, but I can't finish. There's a song like that, isn't there? All right, let's put you away for a second. You get in the hole. All right, I'm gonna draw. This is terrifying, but I'm gonna draw a clean line. I'm gonna try and draw a clean line. Whether or not I succeed in drawing a clean line is very much TBC. But let's just give it a go. SSRI slogan can always start, can't finish. Hey, meds affect everybody differently. I am nervous. I am feeling exceptionally nervous. Which is an interesting one to be out of my comfort zone again. I don't like it. How very dare the universe give me something that I'm not immediately familiar with? You know, Wacom is an interesting company. As I say this with nothing but love in my heart, there's very little I've found you to be able to do straight in the most complimentary way possible. In fact, I think this might be why I'm struggling so much with the line work, is because I just kind of foster a general attitude of not being very straight, both in and around my life. Thing about my comfort zone is that it was comfortable. You know what? That is wise words. Have you considered going into the Christmas cracker industry? Because they could use your touch, Lloyd. You know what? Give up. Go to the next thing. Come back. Oh, use the wrong hotkey. Come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. See, this is the thing about getting a bunch of delightful productivity tools, is that you then have to teach yourself a whole new set of keys to hit. I bought one of those like gamer mouse wrist guard things, a macro pad. Oh my god, how did I forget the word for a macro pad? I got myself a macro pad. It's pretty good, but I have to open up the app every like 20 minutes and remind myself what in the hell I thought was a good way to button map stuff. Did I just get it because it had LEDs in the back? Absolutely. Do I regret that choice? No. Stop asking. But yes, hang on. Oh, I believe the BGM was quite quiet this last while. I'm so sorry. You just had me in stoic silence. How terrible. It's not an old people pad. It's ergonomic. Ava's not an e-girl. Yeah, Ava's a carny. Ava's more likely to I don't know, like she'll scam you, but it'll be good old-fashioned pickpocketing, not bathwater salesman. Interesting time to be alive when you've got good old-fashioned pickpocketing. What's a modern equivalent? Chargeback scams, I guess. I just feel like it's so hard to be. It's so hard to do charm to do crime in a charming way online. There's no pizzazz. Is ego bathwater the new snake oil? Well, I mean. Yeah, Lloyd, you might be onto something. Now, really, okay, would you, if you were given the reputation, the power, the following, that you knew that there were X hundred people who would buy your bathwater, would you do it? Would you succumb? You know, I wonder why. I wonder if that's why things like Belle Delphine selling the bathwater became as much of like a media sensation as they did. Is not even because it was like, you know, particularly vile or, you know, upsetting, but just because it finally felt like we had a return to form. Someone was scamming with a bit of pizzazz. Someone was really, really giving the pigeons what they want. Is calling someone who is particularly gullible a pigeon an actual thing, Or has my brain been terminally poisoned by The Simpsons? That's what I want to know. There's so many things in my life where, you know, I'll say it as though it's just an idiom. Nope, Simpsons quote. Which immediately just completely showing my ass and age in the same breath. It's like realizing how many things I thought were just jokes in The Simpsons were actually timely movie references, but the fame of the movie has not had the same lifespan as the fame of The Simpsons. And so something that was like quite a timely reference in 1997 is completely forgotten about now, and the only way that people remember it is through The Simpsons parody of it. Extrapolating meaning to the point that it's embarrassing makes people uncomfortable. Baby boy, I have no memory of what that's in reference to. It's rabbits eating carrots? Wait, why do rabbits eat carrots? Is Bugs Bunny the reason why rabbits eat carrots? No way. Well, it's like how Nimrod wasn't an insult necessarily until Bugs Bunny. Because Nimrod was just a god of the hunt. And then post Bugs Bunny, it became an insult because of incompetent hunter. Yeah. What an interesting thing. Okay, this is a character choice that I'm like coming up against. Do you think that it should be the whole setting, right? Every character has a setting, and then the setting informs these tiny little choices that you have to make when you're drawing of like, should this corner in this room be in an actual building or should it be in a tent? Is Ava a tent carny? Or are they a theatre performer? Because I'm leaning towards theatre, only because I love the aesthetics of dressing rooms so much, and I feel like actual like carnies don't really have that. You know, it's more like a little foldable mirror that you would open up. You know, you're not going to carry around like this thing. A whole desk and mirror with a big stand and lights behind it. You would just... Tent carny. Theatre. Oh no, there's only two people here and they both disagree. I do like the suggestion, but it is hard to show that one visually, you know? Maybe, you know what, maybe I should just focus on the thing that I like doing. Girl pretty. Make pretty girl. A tent carny voice versus a theatre carny voice. That's an interesting one again. Is it because the tent carny just needs to sound more common? Is it because I sound like a snob? Been trying for years to sound like the common people. Worst part is, I am the common people. I just skipped out on actually sounding like it. I think if I ever wanted to deeply humiliate myself, I'd need to get a Control-Z counter. And really just show my ass. Because I think I press Control-Z more than any other key. I think also for this screen, I want to go for something that's a little bit more stylized and a little bit more like graphic rather than, you know, shoot for any kind of uber anime, super polished. Because to be honest, I'm just not that good at drawing stuff in anime style. I know how I draw, and it's not that. So I may as well stick to what I know. A dump button. Now, that could go a lot of ways. Oh, Ez, I bet you know a million things about streaming that I don't. Such a passenger. I'm such a passenger to all of this still. It does also make me feel exceptionally old. The kids these days, they're born to it. Like they've had it their whole life. I remember when Germo 985 was it? No, not doing that. A dump button that beats bathwater by miles. Harder to post legally. Terrible tangent. I will not follow it any further. It's funny, the clown thing. Well, you remember the yellow pages? Oh my god. I remember just trying my hardest to rip one apart. All I wanted as a kid was to be able to rip a phone book in half. I don't know why that was the goal, but to me, that just felt like if I could rip a telephone book in half, no one would ever fuck with me. Not even because I would be physically strong enough to rip a telephone book in half, but because people would see me rip a telephone book in half and they would be so impressed that they wouldn't even try it. So like I wasn't even trying to get strong enough to rip a telephone book in half. I was trying to cheat the system. I was trying to come up with like a way that you could easily tear a telephone book in half but make it look like you had just like brute strengthed it. But apparently that's not a thing, and if people tell you it is, they are lying. And by people, I mean my uncle. But man, I believed that for like 6 months. I really thought that there was like a secret way to tear a phone book in half. I love a delicate top lip. All I ever want is to draw just delicate top lips. This one not quite making the cut. Buff Ava. Oh, no, she's too slimy for that. She's too... She wouldn't want to get her hands dirty, even if, you know, she could do it well. It's just unbecoming. She's like a... You know, it's a funny one. My sister is older than me by quite a margin. And sometimes you feel those just slight differences in values. But she's very cool. And she sent me a kind of... she sent me a TikTok that was very lovingly talking about the things that lesbians like in other lesbians. And I had to explain to her that the bisexuals are just an entirely different thing. We don't want to have a carabiner on our belt. We don't want to be useful. We don't want to know how to back a trailer up. We're chat, Lloyd. Yeah, it's a different way of experiencing this kind of thing. It's not so much of a direct back and forth. It is like you do kind of, ideally, you should be able to just kind of sit back and be entertained. The idea that you could be a lurker should be enough. It's kind of like the onus is on the person who's broadcasting to be interesting, rather than it's a concerted back and forth between parties. That being said, though, much like the Bloodhound Gang, I appreciate your input. Oh, that one's written me off to the retirement home early as well, I think. I haven't interrupted once and I find it weird. Darling, I think you're just gonna have to become you're gonna have to become a live streamer. Indeed, I will dance. I will dance for you. I will not play tones in either, because we've all got to have principles, and apparently that's mine. I'll do a lot. I'll do a lot for love, but oh god, no, that's towing Meatloaf territory. There's any chance that I'm going to turn the sketch layer off and this is just going to look absolutely ridiculous. But whatever, I'm hitching. Also, ugh, this is kind of breaking my brain, because I am drawing a reflection of the real one of me. So technically, if I had my face turned that way, the tattoo would be on the other side of my face, right? Question mark. Oh god, nothing could have prepared me for this. So that means that my part would be on this side of my head, not this side of my head, which means oh, I'm not into meat load either. That's you need some new meat. That meat's bad. There's protein and then there's protein, you know? That's just, it's pushing it. I was meant to work tonight, actually. And I got a text message from my boss. Well, not even a text message. I got a kind of panicked phone call from my boss about 20 minutes before I was about to head out the door, being like, it's horse abuse day, so we don't need you. Don't come in. Which is fantastic, but also would have been just stellar to have a bit more than that notice. But whatever. I'm not going to look a gift night off in the mouth. So apparently the venue that I work at as well, because I work in events, very last minute was like, yo, we got a lot of drunk horse people in the room. Like, too many drunk horse people. We somehow running a fun pub style event tonight is not going to be ideal. And it's like, well, I am a little bit surprised you didn't kind of see that one coming. Considering this is not like the most trendy inner city pub. It's more of a like, has a good relationship with the Kino kind of pub. Also, is the Kino like a uniquely Australian thing? Is that just a thing that we all decided was fun? Because I've never encountered a more boring way to spend time. Precious few times in my life has anyone around me ever decided that the activity we need to do is Kino, but every time somebody has suggested it, it's guessing and math and waiting, which are not activities I would voluntarily sign up to do on a good day. Or even when I was already bored, let alone when I'm like actively trying to have fun and enjoy my life. But you've never understood it. I don't understand it either. I just don't see the kind of appeal of the thing. Is it to convince Australians that we know how to count? No, I kid. I love Australia. But sometimes the little cultural mementos are baffling. It has become immediately apparent to me, though, how streamers end up in trouble for saying out of pocket, completely wild things just from trying to fill the space. As I don't think we know how to count somehow. I mean, how many people know how many states and territories there are? How many points are on the star of the flag? Gosh, maybe I will just end up. I zone out looking at the Keno. Heads or tails, heads or tails. Exactly. I mean, you could just play that game with your friend. Also, hello, Toby. Thanks for joining. Seven. Is that a lucky number? To be honest, I feel like I don't even understand like the fundamental gameplay of Keno. I know there is the heads and tails version, but then you pick numbers, but then there's two screens with the numbers on them, and although I played a pokey machine for the first time in my life this year, which was not something I expected to do, and I fundamentally do not understand the appeal of. 7 points on the stars. Yes, there are. You are correct. And I shall give you an A+ for that one. Imagine that. Come to a live stream and then just kind of get grilled on general knowledge questions. States and territories, darling. States and territories. What's happening up here? I don't know what this whole bit is doing anymore. I'm not sure I ever did, actually. This whole thing has been a very impulse decision to actually give streaming a go tonight. I've just kind of had the assets sitting there and I've been waiting for the right time to jump in and give it a go. But I think impulse decision seems to be the rule of the day. I did another very big impulse decision today and just sat down, went to like put the news on while I did chores, and then ended up watching the entirety of The Princess Bride. For some reason, I think I was just feeling romantic. Yay, primary school memories for the win. Linked me in to watch. I need stickers to give out. I need gold stars. There we go. Oh, you're behind chat. Well, that's fine. You can be immortalized behind chat. But you're there. You know, even if this doesn't end up being the final, I feel like every iteration of something that you draw is a good way to kind of problem solve the next time you have a run at it. So even if I don't necessarily end up using this, I've done some... Akino watched The Princess Bride. Oh no, that would make it so boring. What a horrible... What? Imagine that if you know, the kids these days, they need to have the dual screen TikTok. You've got Subway Surfers on the top and you've got, you know, the police commissioner of Victoria on the bottom. But imagine if you double screened the entirety of The Princess Bride with just a Kino game playing in the top half. You know what? Vertical video was a mistake. It opened us all up to this. You give anybody a bit of free real estate and they'll try and cram something into it. You should see my monitor. It's living proof of that. Every square inch of desktop is covered with some kind of window, as if I don't see every single piece of information available to me. I shall perish. I will vanish into smoke. Especially pictures of lyrebirds, who are the best, silliest little birds. We were talking about lyrebirds before. And I really do love them. How many birds can sound like a car alarm? What a good little bird. I feel like car alarms barely sound like car alarms these days. Oh god, what if I just become an old man shakes fist at cloud streamer? Just spend the whole time... You know, as the history of the internet extends and extends, multi-screen, like a 90s movie, stock market CEO, like some kind of like high impact montage. A lyrebird that was a house pet. Oh no, they can't be pets. You can't. Imagine that. A lyrebird as a pet, I feel like. It's a terrible thing to do because you just let them be out in nature, but it would also end up really coming back to bite you because every morning your alarm is set at 6:30. Beep, 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 beep. Bird learns it. Bird gets hungry at 3:30 a.m. What does the bird know how to do exactly, convincingly, to the same amount of decibels as your alarm clock? You're screwed, mate. That thing now has complete control over you. Or what if you were watching something clandestine, something that you didn't necessarily want to broadcast to the rest of your housemates, and then suddenly the pet lyrebird is reciting your anime ASMR boyfriend experience cuddle while we sleep migraine cure video at, you know, full volume. Oh, Parrot was making a car alarm sound on TikTok. See, parrots are very powerful as well. But they do still end up sounding like a parroty approximation of a regular noise rather than necessarily like it perfectly. Because lyrebirds, it sounds like they've just got a boombox in their throat and they're just throwing sounds out of themselves without any actual intervention at the vocal cords. Comes back to bite you literally and figuratively. Chomp. Yeah, a bite from... Well, actually, hang on. Let's grab our little lyrebird again. I don't think that he could do an excessive amount of damage. Look at this. Weak beak. Weak beak. When I was in Sydney a couple of months ago, I got bitten by an ibis in Hyde Park. Entirely my own fault. I have no recourse. But I did get bitten by their long, skinny ibis beak on the hand. Apparently the Sydney ibises are just built different. And it didn't hurt that much because they couldn't really get like a huge amount of grip on me. Yeah, weak ass beak. It's a weak beak. So I don't know. Like it does have the pointy bit. The pointy could get you. So like points for that. But I do feel like the parrot beak in comparison is so like designed for murder. Like that hook overhang, that thing is like, that thing is going to tear into you. Oh, no brain behind that eyes, vacant eyes. I mean, look at how, like, what room is there in this skull for bird brain? Considering that the eye is probably taken up that much. That is like, that's really living up to the bird brain stereotype. Oh, I've got a lovely cup of tea here with me. Minty, herbally tea. But as usual, it took me 3 runs to the kettle and turning the kettle on, and then forgetting that I had turned the kettle on, and then going into the kitchen and remembering that I had meant to turn the kettle on and turning the kettle on and walking away. But finally, I got a cup of tea out of it. Might be a tasty meal. I'm not sure. So, I, people eat quails, and I've always thought that that's a silly thing to do, not even because of any kind of inherent, value of life, which I agree with anyway, but just the meat to bone ratio on a quail seems so not in the eating person's favor. Wouldn't you want the biggest bird to bird bone ratio possible? Wouldn't you want, like, just as much bird meat and the least bird bone? Which I suppose is yet another one of humanity's crimes towards chickens, but hey man, they shouldn't have been so front heavy. Oh yeah, but speaking of bird vengeance, I do think that parrots, even like the size and shape of their skull, would fit more brain in it. I remember in my old man memory when people were amazed when the lyrebird started copying the Nokia ringtone. Yeah, there's a very famous David Attenborough clip of it, a lyrebird in the wild, recreating camera noises like the shutter noise, and then it could even differentiate between a camera shutter and then a shutter with a mechanical lens, the ones that have the actual machine parts that move in the lens. And then it started even mimicking a chainsaw because there were loggers nearby, and if that wasn't some Fern Gully ass, like, we need to side with nature shit, I don't know what is. Fern Gully seems to be haunting me. Make a lyrebird foe? No! Make a lyrebird friend. No, I really do want to make a mascot that is a little lyrebird companion. And then and also just for the punniness. I love a pun. I like the idea that she's a con man and her bird is a lyrebird. Fern Gully is absolutely goated. Fern Gully is a goated movie. It is so good. All the character designs are like so wildly like attractive. Fern Gully next hang sesh, absolutely. I would love to watch Fern Gully. I've been thinking about it. Oh, I would love to watch Fern Gully. Batty was phenomenal, and there's like a whole drama. Well, there once was a large drama between Robin Williams, Disney, and the people who made Fern Gully, because Robin Williams really liked Fern Gully and wanted to do the movie, but Disney was pissed off that he was potentially going to draw attention away from other Disney films that he was working on. I can't remember which one specifically at the time, but it turned out to be a whole thing. A whole thing. Oh, I'm gonna have to draw a hand. I'm not drawing a hand tonight. You guys are gonna have to make your peace with the fact that I don't have a hand in me. Oh, no. Whoa, we're not loving that. Not loving that phrasing. Oh, well. We're just gonna leave it. I wonder if there's like a Streisand effect, but just for accidentally saying sussy stuff. I feel like I say sussy stuff by accident more often than I say sussy stuff intentionally. But I've ended up with this awful track record or reputation of being really, really sus. Like 90% of what I say is pure. I am pure. I am as fresh as the dawn snow. I am unblemished. I mean nothing. But it just gets interpreted the wrong way. Oh well. You know, I think that one's Lloyd. I'm don't ever don't ever call me a sussy bugger. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I simply cannot. I need to keyword that one out. Well, this has been an interesting experiment at least. I need to go and figure out how to get this microphone off mono somehow, unless it's just a hardware problem. Yes, Lloyd. Sassy Baka is indeed a word. Whether or not I want it to be in my orbit is another thing. Aladdin. It was Aladdin, wasn't it? Because that was Robin Williams' biggest debut. Okay, you gotta drop the dump button. That wasn't even my idea. If anything, that was Ez being a sussy baka. Again, I am pure. I just happen to be around the sus. This is it. I have blemished myself with sus. I know not the touch of another human being. I am pure. I'm an idol. No, I can't even take myself seriously on that one. Maybe I'll have to set it up as a membership goal. If at a certain membership tier you'll get the dump button, whatever in God's good name that means. What could the dump button even mean? You know, in like in real world terms. Doubt. How dare you? I mean, you're right. But also, how dare you? 100K dump button. 100K what? 100,000 what's? 100,000 of what? Purity membership goal. Right, I just lock myself away further and further from humanity with the more followers I get. You know what? That just sounds like every streamer. The dump button gets rid of the most recent 10 seconds of audio. Oh, right. So it's my magic undo key if I put myself on a delay. I wonder that chat's already on a bit of a delay, so... You know, I wonder how many times the dump button would have to have been used on Kyle Sandilands, and also how he still has a job and a career of any sort, actually. But yeah, no, a dump button for actual live content does seem prudent. Although I think it would make responding to chat tricky. Tricky, to say the least. Because I think that's always been one thing that is a little bit to me, is that like odd delay between, you know, I'll say something, you guys will say something back. By the time you've said something back and it's gotten back to me, I've kind of moved on, and then I'm looking at the message like, eh? Kyle Sandilands has a career because uncles everywhere are accepted and cannot be uninvited from Christmas. It was more to hide your personal cringe feelings. But here's the thing. I'm post-cringe, baby. I'm already being a PNG tuber. There just ain't much cringier I could get. I shall live without the dump. I shall never dump again. Nope. No, once again, not excellent. But you get the drift. Hey, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. This has been an interesting experiment in seeing what it is like talking into the post-cringe weak beak. Look, it's like, come on. I've seen pairs of tweezers with more downward pressure than that. Alright, fuck it. $100K dump. Weak beak. Context? Unnecessary. Once you have enough viewers, chat amalgamates into a beast only a delay can phrasing fix. Yeah, I'm not. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for sure. Oh my god, it's already been like an hour. How's that? How's that, I say? I am the uncle. I am the uncle that Kyle Sandilands is for. I swear to God, some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth really does make me think that I'm about to kind of side-eye another 40-year-old man because he's not tonguing the snags. Borderline, not tonguing the snags as good as I think he could on the barbecue at Christmas. I mean, I have an aquarium animal, for God's sake. That is not the demographic of a delightful young anime woman. That is the demographic of a retiree called Greg who consistently tries to buy stuff off Gumtree by offering $20 less than what they're asking. Yeah, you tong snags. You have the tong. Hang on. The tong. It's a tong. It's a tong, trust me. See? Tong. Clack, clack. Yeah? And then you have the snag. And then you tong the snag. Wee. Snag. Snag. Barbecue. Tong. And it's normal. That girl is an uncle sounds like the most ripped, like, Jersey Bounce song name. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you, chat. I would never have put that one together. I know what it sounds like. I'm telling you what it is. It's a tongue. But anyway, love this guy. This guy has done nothing wrong. He can stay forever. Can you tell I'm just trying to procrastinate drawing right now because I haven't gotten used to actually doing other stuff while I draw yet? Turns out it's a deeply humbling experience. I be cackling. Oh, hell yeah. We got witch hours. Not witching hours, just witch hours, in which it's an hour and there is a witch in it. You know, next time I'm jumping on Scream, I'm just playing Watermelon Game. This trying to draw well while having people look at you thing, absolute nightmare. I do not know how people do it. But I'm not sure if you guys were here before when I was showing off, as though there is something to show off. I was showing the kind of very rough ideas of what I want to kind of do with the opening and ending screen of the stream. But I hope that I can end up with 3. Witch hour for witching witches. As long as they're like cool witches, you know. Less of that kind of Mullumbimby witch. No offense to the Mullumbimby types, but I think there is a specific flavor of the Mullumbimby witch that I might need to swerve. I like a more urban witch. Alright. Now, so I've got these 3 ideas. So this is like, this is the one I was working on before, but like this is like an opening screen with a title on it that's like starting soon. But, oh! And then, nope, not that. And then having something like this as an ending screen, which I think, well, actually, that kind of forces my hand. Before I was talking about whether or not Ava would be the kind of person who would be a circus carny or like a theater kid. Toby, a lot of the time when my intention is to swerve away, I do end up swerving into, so, you know, it could go either way. It's like, you know, when you do those defensive driving courses when you're a teenager. Well, I say you do it. I never did it. I just knew that it was a thing that people did. The one takeaway, though, when we had the RSEQ guy come to my high school and be like, well, don't drink and drive, was that apparently if you look at something that you're trying to swerve away from, you end up pointing your car at it. Yeah, look, I will likely swerve into it, aquaplaning into disaster as the only way that I know how. But yes, going back to this ending and starting screen. Your inner child is a theatre kid and the whole world is a stage, baby. How very dare you? Yeah, so I'm thinking about tent carny or theatre carny. And originally it was specifically in relation to this drawing as to whether she should be in like a brick and mortar building or whether she should be in a tent. Because I want her to have the kind of infrastructure of a physical theatre, like a cool mirror and, you know, a big dressing up rack of costumes and stuff. But I also really love the aesthetics of like, oh god, I just need to delete that layer, it's no good. Of like a circus tent. So the idea of her being a trapeze artist and sleeping in the safety net of the circus. I really like that idea. So imagine, you know, there's your safety netting, and then these things here are the like actual trapezes kind of hanging down. And then there's a little sleepy baby. Breakfast at Tiffany or Moulin Rouge? Moulin Rouge. Absolutely Moulin Rouge. Do Tent Carney's Bujo. Brick and Morty. Die. Love that. Hate you. Do Tent Carney's Bujo. Can Tent Carnies read? Can I read? I mean, underestimating myself to the public may actually be in my favor here. There is really something powerful about being Jared 19. I never learned how to fucking read. But no, I do think she would be able to read, because otherwise, how do you run cons? And then, so this was the final screen that I was thinking is like a BRB screen, but I'm not sure if I'm into it because one, it's just very ass forward, and I want to be a more ass adjacent type of gal, which, you know, this doesn't really lend itself to that well, but I do think I could kind of adjust everything a wee bit, because that's also just a bit off, isn't it? Oh, I've made it worse. Like that? Something like that. But then, just kind of select the whole thing. And zoom it in a bit. Because then we can also direct focus to what I want to be the focus of the drawing more than there's a butt. I don't mind sideways with a wink and a flick. I think the original concept was kind of like the idea of having something like this would be, you know, thumbnails are always hard to read, but like she's got a little corset-y thing, a little waspy on here, and then it's, you know, oh no, it's come apart. Oh, it's popped open. Because I always really loved those like we'll be right back screens that would come up on old conventional television, and then the mockery of them when it would be like, oh, the cameraman's drunk. Like so hard to find specific Simpsons reference images. Side boob for the viewer. Hey, get out of there. She's pure, I tells you. That being said, though, oh, no, that's a completely other thing. Yeah, let's just pop this away for now. So, I wanted to have... I'm still just kind of nailing down everything, really. You just kind of come up with a little guy, and then you love the little guy until it hurts. Actually, that might just be life. Or I'm just a massive nerd. But no, I've got all these high concepts I want to do with this character. I think it's gonna actually take a while before I start thinking of the character as like myself, even though it is like very directly an avatar. Like there's nothing else that it's meant to be. But one thing I really wanted to have is a tattoo on her upper arm. God, I've really done it, haven't I? Layers? Leia, I hardly know her. I don't know how to use layers and talk to chat at the same time. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Christ. Oh, God. Ugh, I feel like I'm using my computer with my elbows. As opposed to what I can do when I'm unsupervised, which is use them with my wrists. Nerd! Homer Simpson's reference. I get it. I get the reference because I am close to the grave. I'm so old. You made a joke. Yes, I did, about laying her. Isn't it terrible? I can solemnly vow very little about the depraved lengths to which I will go while I'm operating this channel. But one thing I can earnestly say that I want to try and not give into is the low-hanging fruit of if I say it, I'm inviting disaster. I've realized I've already invited disaster by even thinking the thought, but now I wonder that it's too late. I want to avoid these nuts jokes. I think the most enlightened citizens of the internet have potentially moved past the need for these nuts jokes. No, I didn't even mean to phrase something lewd. Oh, what did I do this time? I didn't even notice what I'd done. No, most of the time I can pick up on it pretty quick. Surely it can't just be the concept, low-hanging fruit. It's not all bullsack. Oh god, now I've just told on myself even more. Oh no. I see how this is gonna go. Anyway. The one thing I very much want to include in the character design. Actually, I think I know what to do. Damn it, I don't know what to do. What a shame. One thing yep. Polly is the worst at it. Polly is absolutely shocking with the accidental entendre. And the best part is about Polly, just because of her personality type, you know that it's not some sneaky, you know, oh, I didn't know that I was saying something lewd. They absolutely did. You know. Low-hanging fruit is a slur. Lloyd, you cannot. Imagine that. Just like cancelled on the first stream. Humiliated beyond belief. Just needs to pack it in immediately. Alright. From this just very, very rudimentary sketch, I really want there to be like one of those, you know, my love tattoos on her arm. But then whatever the name it was is just absolutely scratched out to garbage. And then under it there's another name, and then that name is also scratched out to garbage. And under it there's another name, and then that one's also scratched out. Time to rebrand, boys. Man, I ain't even set on the branding for this one. I like cancelled, thrown in the bin before you even have the branding down. But the whole point of having a virtual avatar is that it's hard for them to act out. That being said, though, I think if I had to lose this concept tomorrow, I know exactly what I would do instead. Is it just because I'm hyperfixating on clowns? I'll never tell. But would it be a little clown girl? Absolutely. Would she just look sad by default? Absolutely. Is that also just vaguely speaking to my current mental state? Get a warrant. I think it's also just fun to draw neck ruffs. It's hard not to have fun drawing a neck ruff. It's just uppy downy backy forthy. Amazing. Tea time. Absolutely vaudevillian clown, Toby. I love a good vaudeville clown. I think the whole like,
oh, it's a hover cloud and it's gonna climb out of the cupboard and eat you.
We've been there, done that. Horror clown is officially overplayed. I feel like we need to go back to the roots of why people found clowns unsettling in the first place. And then we can move back to horror clowns once people put some goddamn respect on the inherent creepiness of things that aren't necessarily like holding a knife and standing in a back alley and they're trying to kill ya. No. I feel like a vaudeville clown actually has the potential to be more scary than like axe wielding clown. But because of just like the nature of the craft and because of the depression, yes. What's like a how could you wooify? Well, that's a verb now. Oh. How would you wooify a like Pagliacci? How like the name specifically?
Be like, Puggy?
Hihi or like Chichi. But then because it's Italian, it would just be. Back in my day, you used to get 24 honks to the gallon. Is it the mime aspect of clowns that people are afraid of? I think so. I think that and like the Pagliacci. Oh, terrible. Is it the mime aspect of clowns? I think it's also just the makeup, right? Because like if you've just got like a human face, which is like, you know, but then you've suddenly turned it into like something that is way super dramatic and like all of the features are like crazy overblown. That's like, you know, that sticks with you, right? Especially I feel like old clown mouths just being like so grotesque. It looks freaky. It's the first start of the uncanny valley, but the human outwards. Absolutely. So I do feel like everybody talks about the uncanny valley as though it's like something that is inherently inhuman, becoming off-putting as it gets closer incrementally towards being realistically human. But I do think that's why that kind of special effects costume makeup is also so unsettling, because it's almost like a reverse uncanny valley, which is just uncanny valley but entered from stage right. We were always scared of clowns to prepare for Trixie Mattel. Drag her, literally and figuratively. Oh my god. I mean, you're right. I mean, she's everything to me. But yes, Trixie Mattel makeup, you could argue, is clown makeup. Whether or not you can do it in polite company, TBC. I do feel like I'm just kind of sketching in my regular. Oh no! You know what I call my sketchbook? I call my sketchbook my rubbish sketchbook that I like to doodle in. It's my dump pad because I dump ideas into it. Ez was right all along. This is terrible. I'll have to tell him. Absolutely shocking turn here. She is my mother. If Trixie Mattel is your mother, you've got issues. Terry Pratchett's take on the clown face is great. The clown's makeup is its face, and they are nobody when they take it off. That's freaky. So like it's just a blank face. Ooh, I like that. But then is it like, does it look like that? Does it look like that overdrawn style of face because they're just really shit at makeup? Or could it be that could it be something a little bit more like it's a choice rather than Now, I like the idea that they're just really bad at foundation and contouring. If they got really good at makeup, they would just be indistinguishable from humans. But they're not going to learn. So I was mentioning to chat that you were right, and I hate you for it, because I just said that I felt like I was drawing in my dump pad, because I call my sketchbook that I just dump ideas into, and I'm not super precious about my dump pad. So it turns out the true dump button was the book full of anime boys you keep on your bookshelf and nightstand all along. Forever humiliated, I will never recover. But you know, like a brain dump. It's a brain dump, guys. It's a brain dump. You know, it's normal. It's just normal. Don't make me think about it too hard. Don't make me think that I've been just calling it that in front of regular people for years without questioning it. Ooh, more about Discworld clowns. Upon the death of a clown, his face, dress, and name and approved routine are passed on to another student who will then assume the identity for the rest of his life. That almost sounds like that interesting Game of Thrones plotline that they had Arya do and then gave up on. I love the idea of faces being stolen and passed on, and like your identity not really being like a thing that is inherent to you, but like a mantle that you put on and take off over the years. Because I do think the idea that there has to be some really conscious through line to a person across their whole life, it's kind of bullshit. I do think it's I'm not saying that everybody has to change to the point where they're not the same person throughout their whole life, or even that they do necessarily, but I think a good life is one where you are kind of shedding your skin, iguana style, every couple of years. I just love this sad little clown bitch. Who'd have thought? I tell you guys, you gotta get into sewing. Just make the most bizarre thing that you ever thought to make, and then have it shape your identity for 6 months, because apparently that's what I've done. Well, this hasn't been the most productive use of my time, but I'm very glad that I've done it. It was very nice hanging out, and thank you guys for coming and hanging out. That was very cool. Very pog of you. Incredibly pog, even. But I think I'm gonna actually jump off at this juncture and go and try and figure out how to make this microphone behave, and also do a little bit of actual focus drawing to see if I can get some assets out in time to stream again, maybe later this week. Be a bit more organized about it. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining. In fact, I am going to just jump back to the starting soon screen, because the whole reason I'm working on these assets is that I don't have any other ones. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna stream again this week. If you feel like hanging out, that would be cool. If you don't, I'll see you around anyway.